On this episode of Camp Outside, we take a look at the Toadfish Stowaway travel rods. We're going to do a gear review. Check them out. Hey guys, I'm Kevin with Camp Outside, your inside source for all things outside. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that we've been traveling all over the country, going camping, hiking, fishing. We have been traveling with our boat and our van and our rowboat. We've been all over the place, checking stuff out. And one of the things that's been really getting me is that my fishing gear is taking a beating. Whether we've been traveling in the van or my gear is in the boat, it just seems that those long road trips are really, really hard on fishing gear. So if you haven't seen my overview of my reel locker that I just got from Plano, check that out. I'm going to put a link to that right up here and down in the description below. So in addition to that reel locker I got from Plano, I also got a couple of travel rods. And the rods I got are from Toadfish Outfitters. These are their Stowaway travel rods. They're really, really awesome, guys. I'm really excited to show them to you. And I got both the 6'8" model and their 7'2" model, and I'm going to talk about both of those. So the 6'8" model comes in a medium and medium light action rod, and it also has tips for moderate, fast, and fast action. So what you can do is you can select which power and which action you want and combine that to make one rod. It comes in 3 pieces. Or the 7'2" rod is a medium or medium heavy, moderate, fast, or fast action tip. So both of those rods I was able to test out. We just went up to Reed Bingham State Park in southern Georgia. They have a little lake and reservoir and river up there, and so we took our 1964 Alumacraft rowboat instead of pontoon fish. We traveled light this trip, and my son and I hopped in the rowboat and we got to test out these travel rods, and guys, they're fantastic. So a little bit about Toadfish Outfitters. Toadfish Outfitters is a really cool company that supplies all kinds of outdoor gear as well as some cooking stuff. So if you are a seafood chef, you would definitely want to check out some of their stuff. They've got a shrimp cleaning knife that's really cool. They've got oyster shuckers. They have these non-tip can koozies, which are pretty cool. So check those out as well. But they also sell some fishing gear. And one of the things that they sell is these travel rods, and so I want to show them to you guys because I'm really excited about them. So the first thing that you'll notice is that they come in an aluminum tube, and what's really cool about that is these things they float. They'll take a beating. You can just throw them in the car, throw them in the truck, throw them in the boat, and they're going to keep your rod safe. And so as we open it up here, this is the 6'8" version. Oh, and it also comes with a nice shoulder strap that you can adjust. So if you want to, have a nice strap for carrying, that's nice. And then inside, the rod comes in this little felt case, which is nice with some tie strings. And so as we untie here and show you what it looks like. So you'll see, as I turn it around here, it tells you what it is. So this is the Toadfish 6'8" medium and medium light. Now here's one of the bummers that I was a little disappointed in. It doesn't affect the performance of the rod, but this came to me already starting to wear. And so if you have a bunch of these and you want to check to see what model you have, and you just want to check the felt, you might be losing the print. That's a really, really minor thing, but I just thought I'd mention that. If anybody from Toadfish is watching, you might want to check on that to see if you have a better printing process or whatever. So then, guys, this makes one rod, but lots of different options. So we'll start off with the handle. The handle is fantastic. It's got a nice plastic grip, a nice reel seat. It has your conventional hook keeper. It also has another hook keeper down in the grip, so you can choose which kind of hook keeper you want. I always use the traditional hook keep. It's just what I do, but I have seen a lot of people rave about that kind of hidden hook keeper. And then also, guys, the rear handle has this little finger grip. And if you're not familiar with how to cast artificial baits, when you're casting artificial baits, especially in saltwater, and you want to get the maximum amount of distance, what you have is you have one hand here and one hand here, and it's a push-pull like that. And that's how you fling the bait as fast as you can to get maximum distance. And so I love that little finger grip. That is a nice little attention to detail that I haven't seen on other rods. So well done, Toadfish Outfitters. I really like that. And then of course it's marked, so Toadfish, and then it says, you know, this is the medium light, 6'8". So if you have a bunch of travel rods, you can't get them mixed up because it tells you what it is. And then on the back side, it gives you the model, and then it gives you the line weight, which is suitable for 6 to 20 pound braid, and it says 1/8 to 3/4 ounce lures. So there's your handle. Now it comes with 2 midsections. As I said, this is a 3-piece rod, so I'm going to pull out the midsections from the felt here. And so here are, I'm going to set the handle down. So here are the midsections, and the midsections, they look very, very similar, but one says medium and one says medium light. And so that affects the power rating of the rod, how much backbone it has. If you're fishing for smaller fish or you're fishing with lighter weight lures, you're definitely going to want to go with that medium light setting. And then if you're going to fish a little heavier fish, heavier lures, heavier line, you're going to want to go with your medium setting. Okay. And then, you know, it's really all just trial and error, guys. Just test it out and see how it feels for you with what you're casting and what you're fishing for. I really like the medium light, especially if I'm going to use this for bass fishing. I really like the medium light feel, but the medium was fantastic as well for throwing some heavy jigs. I threw a couple of bass jigs while I was out fishing in Reed Bingham, and I really liked the medium for those jigs. And then in terms of the tips, it comes with 2 different tips. And again, one says fast and one says moderate fast. Now, what that is that's all about the taper of the rod, how far down into the tip the rod bend. In a fast action tip, the rod is going to bend closer to the tip than in the moderate fast, where the rod is going to start bending down a little farther. So there are a number of reasons why you would want to adjust the speed of your rod tip. So one of the reasons is how good of a hook set do you want, or how hard of a hook set do you want. So in a fish that has a hard mouth, a lot of the fish that we fish for in saltwater that have hard mouths, I'm thinking things like sheep's head, tarpon. A lot of fish, even jacks, have hard mouths, and so you want a fast action tip to get a good hard hook set when you go and you set the hook. There are other fish that have really soft mouths, things like sea trout in saltwater, or also things like crappie and other freshwater fish have a softer mouth, and a hard hook set may cause you to miss a fish. And that's where a moderate fast action tip is a great tip for softer mouth fish. Another thing you might want to consider is what kind of bait you're using. When you're fishing with artificial bait, you don't have to worry about the condition of the bait. You can fling it as hard as you want to get a good casting distance, and so a fast action tip is the way to go. But when you're fishing with live bait, and especially when you're fishing with live bait that's a fish, like down here in the south we use greenbacks in saltwater, or you're fishing with shad in freshwater, or even minnows or those kind of things, a lot of times the hard cast of a hard, you know, if you're trying to get a lot of distance out of a cast with a live bait, will really beat up that live bait, and it won't be good for very many casts because it's just taking a beating as the rod tip accelerates to throw the bait through the air. So a lot of live bait fishermen like a moderate fast action tip to their rods, because the bend kind of slows down the bait for the same amount of distance in casting, or basically as the rod loads, it loads slower because it bends more for the same amount of distance. And so as that rod loads more slowly, it doesn't put as much pressure on that live bait, so that you're able to cast it without putting a lot of stress on that bait. Makes it live longer, makes it look more presentable in the water, maybe something that the fish want to eat. So depending on what you're fishing for, what type of fish, what type of bait you're using, you're either going to want to use a fast action tip or a moderate fast action tip. So what's really cool about these Toadfish rods is that you get, in the 6'8" series rod, you get a medium or a medium light, and you get a moderate fast or fast action tip. So you basically have up to 4 different combinations of rod right there in one tube. So guys, I really, really like it. Let's talk a little bit about the pros as I put the thing together. Let's go with, I'm just going to assemble it with the medium light. So as I put it together, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't pinch those together. They're not designed to go all the way together, and it warns you, there's a little warning label in the tube that will remind you of that, but don't just try to jam it on there, you will break it. But a great way to know whether or not you're straight is to line up the labels. So you got the label here, and then you got the label here, and then that way you'll know that you're straight. And let's just pick the moderate fast tip. And the same thing, as I put it on, you want to slide it on, but and you can push it down a little bit, but you want to make sure there's a gap right there. And then, you know, basically what I do is I'll flip the rod over and I'll kind of sight down it to see if any of my tips need to be adjusted so that they're all straight. But there you go, guys. That is a 6'8" medium light, moderate fast action rod. And guys, like I said, the rod is fantastic. I really, really, really like it. I used some Shimano Symmetry reels when I tested it out. In the 3000 series side, I had 10-pound braid on each reel. Really, really like the balance and the feel. These aren't the lightest rods. If you guys are looking for the lightest rod on the market, I would say that Toadfish is not a particularly light rod, but a lot of the weight is in the handle. So it isn't going to wear you out as much as when you're casting as, like, say, like an Ugly Stick or some of the other heavier rods where there's a lot of weight in the rod blank itself. So I really, really like the rod. I am going to talk about a few things I don't like all that much. And this is where I think Toadfish might be able to improve as they go on. And honestly, guys, it has nothing to do with the rod and everything to do with the case around the rod. So as I said, the little, and it's a minor thing, but the little, the lettering on the felt case is kind of wearing off. And then as far as the tubes go, the tubes are beautiful and I really like it, and I like the Toadfish label and I like the handles and all of that. But what I have noticed, and as you can, maybe you can see it here, is that the tubes mar easily. And so, you know, when I'm throwing it in the boat or I'm throwing it in the van and I've got camping gear stacked on top of it and I've got, you know, it banging into coolers, and I think this mark is actually from our dog crate from our dog. I was a little disappointed that I didn't even fish with the thing yet, and I pulled it out of the van and the case was all marred up. Again, you know, I mean, that's a really, really minor thing, and ultimately it's not going to affect the way the rod fishes. But when you do spend $178 on a set like this, you're going to want it to look really good. You know, you're going to want to show it off to your friends and that kind of thing. So I was a little bummed with the marring of the case. And then the straps that they use are pretty good straps. You know, and they're basically Velcro and they're adjustable. But I did notice that I'm starting to get a little bit of threading and you know, the straps just starting to come apart just a little bit, and these are brand new. So I can definitely see down the road having to find another set of straps as these things come apart. And I imagine that's just, you know, these are probably pretty hard to get, and they probably buy them in bulk from China and they slap them on, and you know, that's what they could get. The other thing that got me a little bit was that there's a little piece of kind of like rubber in the cap, and sometimes it comes out. So I'm going to have to, and of course it's not doing it today, but most of the time I find it in the bottom of the tube, or actually just in the tube off the cap. And so I'm going to have to get a little bit of glue and glue that down. As a matter of fact, let me see if it happened on both of them. So I'm going to open up the 7'2", And then the other thing is I'm gonna have to grease those caps or something because they make a whole lot of squeaking. But yeah, so there's the cap, and there's the little rubber gasket. So I'm gonna have to glue that down because I don't want to lose it. You know, but other than that, you know, and then again, you know, you can see on this tube, you know, there's some marring right there. I mean, it just happens straight out of the gate. So, you know, I give Toadfish high marks on the cases. I mean, they seem super sturdy. They seem like they're going to take a beating really well. But if the finish could just be a little bit tougher, I think that they'd really, really have a winner. But all in all, guys, I think these are fantastic. I absolutely love them. So let's talk about price. So they are not the cheapest rod on the market. They have them for $178 on their website. But you got to think what you're getting, guys. You know, if you were to go out and buy two-piece rods, you know, and you were going to go buy a medium and a medium light, or a medium and a medium heavy and a two-piece rod, you know, with this kind of performance, you're going to spend $200 right there. And then on top of that, you know, $100 a rod at the minimum. And then on top of that, you don't have the selectability in actions. So if you wanted to go buy 4 rods, you know, a medium and a medium light, and both a moderate fast and a fast action, now you're talking 4 rods, it's $400. And then on top of that, guys, you would have to go ahead and buy a case on top of that to transport your rods, because two-piece rods just laying in the bottom of a boat or at the bottom of a stack of camping gear are going to be 3 or 4-piece rods by the time you pull them out, unless they're in some kind of case. So with what you get for the $178, I think it's a fantastic buy if you are traveling a lot. I would not hesitate to carry this thing on an airplane. I'm actually considering taking it out to Idaho with me this summer. But I throw them in the van, I throw them in the boat. I don't worry about them at all, which is probably why the cases are marred up in the first place. But guys, I absolutely love them, and I can't recommend them enough. So guys, if you want one, I'm going to provide a link down below where you can buy one from Toadfish Outfitters. Now guys, it is an affiliate marketing link. We're an affiliate of Toadfish Outfitters, and what that means is there's no extra cost to you. But if you buy one using our link, we get a little commission on the sale. It really helps us to continue to bring content to you. And guys, like I said, I really enjoyed these rods. I hope that you do too. If you do have one, or if you've tried one, drop something in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And guys, Camp Outside exists to help moms and dads take their kids camping, hiking, fishing, learn about nature, and develop a conservation ethic. If you are a mom or a dad who's kind of new to this whole outside thing and you don't know how to get your kids outside, whether you don't know where to go or you don't know what kind of gear you need, whether it's camping or fishing or hiking or whatever it is, drop us a comment below. We'd love to help you out. Or you can connect with us on our other social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. All the links to those are down in the description below. We release new videos every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday right here on YouTube at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Our Monday and Tuesday videos are focused on campground and campsite reviews. Our Thursday videos are on a wide range of topics, including camping, hiking, fishing, how-to videos, gear reviews, tips and tricks, and more. So hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon that notifies you when we release new videos, and hit that like button if you like this video. And guys, I want to thank my sponsor, Fish Huge. Fish Huge Apparel makes fantastic apparel to not only help you look good while fishing, but also keep you protected from the sun. So check them out. I'm going to put a link down there in the description below for them as well. And guys, also check us out on our website. We're at www.campoutside.com. All of our stuff is there, and you can check out previous videos and gear reviews and our fishing trips and all kinds of stuff there. So guys, thanks for watching Camp Outside. We couldn't do it without you. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time on Camp Outside.